Alright, so this is going to be a wish list for the Panasonic G9, which has some rumors that can come out later this year or maybe early next year. There's also a few leaked images, and I don't know how accurate they are, but I'll show them here for you. I just want to talk about a few things that I hope will be in the new camera. So let's get started. The first thing I would like to see is no crop in 4K. Now I know the GH5 does this. The G7 and the G85 have a slight crop when you're shooting in 4K compared to 1080, so I think it'll likely happen in the G9. I'd definitely like to get a little bit wider shots when shooting in 4K, so I'd like to see this in the G9. The second thing is better ISO performance. The G7 is already pretty good at this, and I think the G85 is refined a little bit more. But why not just kind of expand those ISOs, make it a little cleaner, you know, shoot at, let's say, 3200 relatively clean or 6400. That'd be really cool to see. Number 3 is an improved flat picture profile. We have Cinelike D on the G7 and G85, but there are some issues with the skin tones I've noticed. So let's fix that and have a refined flat picture profile, maybe a little bit more latitude and like a better codec or something like that. Number 4 is slow motion. Now I know they don't want to cannibalize their market line and have people buy the G9 over the GH5, but perhaps adding 1080 at 120 frames per second or 96 frames per second, somewhere around there, just to get some more slow motion. Number 5 is improved 5-axis stabilization. I heard the internal stabilization in the G85 is not as good as the GH5. Let's kind of match that or even further improve it. Number 6 is improved autofocus. Now I just put this in for those vloggers and those glide cam or gimbal operators that really rely on the autofocus. I personally don't use autofocus during video that much, but why not just refine it and make it better for that group. Now I heard some rumors that they're going to include an extra SD card slot in this camera, which I guess that would be kind of cool to have, but I don't know how they'll manage in such a small size. But if we do get that, we'll welcome that, but I don't think we totally need this in this sort of camera, unless perhaps Panasonic is looking to use that feature for something special. Number 7 is to include USBC, so doing this for like transferring data to your computer or rather charging the camera. I think that would be a really cool feature for this camera. Going back to the codec, I would like to see an improved 1080p at 24 frames per second, because I typically shoot at 4K because I do not get an MP4 version of 1080 at 24 frames per second. You have to go to AVC HD to get that. So if they can include 1080p options, kind of refine those, that would be cool for those who necessarily don't want to shoot 4K. Let's say they're recording long takes and they want to shoot in 1080. The next thing is battery life. It's already great in the G7, but why not improve that? And I know like in the G85, there's so much features like with the 5-axis image stabilization. We're going to need more battery life to complement that. So whether you can do that in camera and using less power, or coming out with a higher capacity battery. Now I would still like to have this form factor, so for those who are going from the G7 or G85, it could be a seamless transition, but do what you gotta do, the more battery life the better. And why not try to simplify the menu layout? I know it's pretty good already in the G7, but try to make it a little more clear and a little bit more organized, so for those who are first picking up a camera, it feels organic to them. I'm not sure if they're going to remove the pop-up flash on this camera. I know they did it with the GH5, but mostly people who are shooting with the GH5 are doing video. I know it's a similar situation for the G7 and G85, but I feel more people are going to use this for photography as well, so maybe remove it if you need to. I don't know, let me know in the comments below what you guys think. Something I would really like to see is price reductions on the G85 and the G7. I know they're pretty much budget cameras already, but if we're going to compare it to the G9, the G85 has to come at a cheaper price to stay competitive, I think. I would really like if the G9 wasn't too pricey. I heard rumors that's around $1,400. The G85 is coming in at $1,000, and the G7 it's around $600 to $700. I definitely want to keep it around the $1,000 range, but don't go too much higher, because Then we're focusing on the GH5 versus the G9. If they're too similar in price, people are just going to buy the GH5. So that is my wish list. It would be really cool to see a majority of these features in the new G9. I'm pretty excited for this camera. It may be a future upgrade. This was actually pretty fun trying to come up with interesting things I would like in a camera. So if you have any like really cool things you'd like to see, go ahead and like leave a comment down below. I'd like to see your guys' thoughts on this. If you dug this video, please consider leaving a like and sharing, because sharing is caring. Thanks for watching. See you guys later.